Kayak anglers, you are tuning into the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network, kayak fishing's best network of shows with great hosts covering all things kayak fishing, bringing you special guests covering topics such as shore fishing, river trips, gear reviews, angler profiles, tournament news, and more. Sit back, relax, let's do.
Chasing the 20-incher Susquehanna River podcast is brought to you by these great companies. Railblazer, think outside the tackle box. Kayak Cushion, for them long days on the water. Achigan brand, the official brand of smallmouth bass. Blue Mountain Outfitters, Susquehanna's local kayak shop. Ken's Jigs, need a custom jig? Don't look any further. Nico Fishing Baits, next generation of soft plastics. And Undercover Baits, get hooked on Undercover Baits. Thanks for watching and welcome to the show.
That's a 20. That is a 20.
Yo, what's up, everyone? Welcome to Chasing the 20-inchers, the Susquehanna River podcast. As you can see, my co-host is the T-Man, Ryan Raridan. What's up, Ryan? How you doing, buddy?
Carlisle, I think your mic's off.
Are you there? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I got you now.
What the heck? Hey, everybody. Who's in the comments? Matthew Weimer. What's up, Matthew? Michael Bradley. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Good. I must have had a loose wire or something. Michael Bradley, Josh Sims.
Oh, no. Here we go.
Sean has
already.
Fishing CPA. No, you're good. Okay, that's for the mic. Oh, we got a bunch of people in the comments already. Oh, what's up, T-Man? All right, so as everybody know, most of the people know, my co-host Sean Lavery had back surgery on Friday, I believe, and he's recovering. So my co-host tonight is Ryan. He's been on the show a couple times, so everybody should know him. Ryan, what's going on, man? I seen you shot a deer.
Been busy. Been sitting in the woods too much. Haven't done very much fishing.
No?
I went out last time we were out was with Jake Harshman.
Yeah, on his boat.
Oh, that was fun. That was great.
Were you smashing them on jerk baits?
No, spinner baits. Chelsea was actually beating me. And then I switched over to a bull shad because why not?
Yeah.
And he wouldn't throw it, refused it because the last time that I threw a bull shad around her, Josh had to get it out of my hand. So she's scared.
You really scraped the bottom of the barrel with Ryan.
Here he goes already.
He's not even at work yet, is he?
No,
he's probably just waking up. If he's even went to sleep, you know.
Probably.
All right, guys. Let's hear your deer story real quick. How'd that go down?
Well, it all started back in middle of October. Number one bow hunter. Missed a really nice 7-point, split brow points on the one side. Like, oh, all right, I'm going to get him. He's dumb. Game of cat and mouse, and then last week I was off 4 days from work. Passed up spike bucks because you're not allowed to shoot those in PA. Thankful for that. Had a couple other smaller bucks come through. Had my doe decoy get destroyed. Could have shot that one. It was a basket rack 8. Let him go. Hit the bottom of the barrel where I'm like, okay, something's got to give here because I'm starting to get frustrated. Everybody goes through it during the rut. Friday, they said, hey, we're slow at work. I said, great. Take a PTO day. I went out to the bar Thursday night. Needless to say, I did not go out Friday morning.
Yeah.
I said, screw that. I'm sleeping in for once.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Friday afternoon rolled around. There was an accident on 322, and I hunted down in Middletown. Great. Going to be late to get in the stand. Nothing's going right. People are cutting their grass, blowing leaves. I'm screwed. Hour after everybody stopped, I looked. Like, oh, that's a nice buck coming through. Shot, hit him. Didn't even know he was hit. He ran about 20 feet and dropped.
Yeah.
So instead of being smart, I have a doe tag for down there. Chelsea was at the other end of the property. Gave it a half hour. Said, hey, you're good to make your way up. Whatever.
Oh, she hunts too?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
She got
That's
to
awesome.
the top of the hill. And I stand up and I look at her like, oh, you better get down. Like doing this, get down. Here comes
Yeah.
3 dead. The 2 came in front of me. Didn't have everything's hung up on the tree. So, like, well, they're going that way. If she gets a shot off, great. If not, whatever. They seen her and took off. Got down, got him. Thought it was the 7-point that I missed. Well, this one was a big 6-point that I never seen before. So,
Yeah.
then
Hey, meat in the
coincidentally,
freezer.
hey, the 7-point showed up again tonight at 5 o'clock. I looked at her and said, man, they say about the wind, and here you go.
Yeah. It was
Still
pretty
running.
windy out today. Yeah.
But I spent a lot of time in the woods this year, and I'm glad it finally all pieced together the way that it did. But I was frustrated, very frustrated.
Yeah. Well, congratulations, man. That was a nice buck for Pennsylvania. That's a dandy. So, anyhow, we're going to get into the river levels really quick. The river levels on the Susquehanna River are brought to you by Railblazer. Think outside the tackle box. The first one here we have is Harrisburg, and Harrisburg is sitting at 3.57 feet, which is right where you want it to be for some good fishing. The next one here we have is Lewisburg, and that's the West Branch. Lewisburg is sitting at 1.96 feet, and it looks like they have a little bit of a rise going on right now. Marietta is next. Marietta right now, they're kind of not really doing anything, sitting at 34.01 feet. And then Towanda. Towanda's on a rise right now, and they're at 1.64 feet. And it looks like, with the week we're having coming up here, we're going to get a huge rise because we're supposed to get some rain here next week. Looks like it's supposed to rain for the next 3 or 4 days. So I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, we have, I don't know, man. We went from summer to winter, it feels like. The
Fall bite
temperature.
didn't really go on
Yeah.
the way I thought.
Yeah, it's like I was out the last 2 weekends with a couple buddies of mine, and we didn't really get into that fall feed bite yet. I mean, we caught some fish, but it wasn't like nothing that you hear about, like where, except for the Juniana. The Juniana's been fishing really good for the past 3 weeks. I know some people that's been on the Juniana, and they've been smashing them. So if you're looking to come to the Susquehanna, you might want to check out the Juniana right now and get into some of them holes where them fish are all stacked up in, because they're smashing them on the Juniana. All right, our next segment of the show is brought to you by Achigan Brand, the official brand of smallmouth bass, and it's our photos from all our viewers that they send in. This week we have 6 photos, starting off with JP Poole, and that looks pretty recent. as with the colors in the background. JP Poole's a hammer, man. He's a pretty new fisherman. Not a new fisherman, but new to the river fishing, and he's only been fishing the river for a couple years, and he really holds it down for us, man. He catches some really good fish. And then we have Josh Sims. Josh Sims sent this photo in. That might be his lunker for Bass Nation. 6.5 incher.
He's used to holding 6.5, I guess.
All right, and then we have Lisa Lake Fishing Club with a nice smallmouth. That looks like a good one there, Ryan.
That is a nice one.
Yeah. And then we have Vincent Studer, one of our local YouTube creators. That's a cool picture too. He's got a little bit of the foliage in the background. That fish is
nice.
colored up really nice.
Very nice fish. Long tail, healthy looking.
Yeah. Thanks for sending that in, Vincent. And then we have Rob Kerstetter with a tank of a smallmouth.
Oh yeah. Bug eyes on the puppy.
Yeah, that's a beautiful fish. Probably close to 5 pounds, maybe.
Yep.
And then finally we have Jake Hausman with a 21.25-inch smallmouth. We want to thank everyone for sending these photos into the week, and we're going to get into our podcast here. If you guys don't know, that photo's been released about a week ago, and it's been gone viral. Our guest this week is Adam Milstead. As you all know, he had put out a video about a week ago about cheating kayak fishing. If you haven't heard about it, you've probably been living under a rock or you don't watch much YouTube. But it's been pretty crazy this week, man. My phone has been blowing up all week with everything that's been going on. Everybody's laughing about that picture. Yeah, that was sent in to a bunch of different platforms, I guess. Yep. What's up, buddy? Angler. Sanker? Yeah, Angler. What's up? How you doing, buddy? Good to see you.
Angler Saint Chore. Got to add a little bit of that chore.
Angler's Anchor. Oh, Angler's Anchor. Yeah. That's Vincent.
Is it
What's
Vincent?
going on, Ben? I think it's Vincent, yeah.
I think it is. Yeah, you're right. It is.
What's going on? There's two guys that I really feel like they started kayak fishing this year, especially for our Kayak Anglers of Central PA. It was Stephen Howard. He has a YouTube channel. It's called The Average Angler. Everyman Angling. And Vincent Studer has the Angler's Anchor channel, which has a lot of followers. These two guys got into kayak fishing this year, and man, I don't know what's going through their brains right now, because they think, what the hell did I get myself into with all this chaos going on with the cheating and stuff like that? But I hope it doesn't deter anybody. I hope these guys stick around, because it just makes, especially these guys, they have very successful YouTube channels, and they're coming on and fishing with us, and I just don't want to see it go to shit because of some stupidity.
Well, and that was my big concern. I don't think it, if anything, this is going to help the community at this point.
Yeah.
I do.
So let's bring our first let's bring our guest in here. Adam Milstead from Straight Yacked, the prototype from his older years in MMA. Let's bring him in. Adam, what's going on, buddy?
What's up, guys? How are you?
How you doing, man?
Oh, hanging in there. Ryan, real quick.
How's your Sunday going?
Oh, it's going good. Kids are going nuts like crazy. I apologize if you hear them running around upstairs, but they're absolutely nuts. But Ryan, what is that? Last time I was over your house, I didn't see a fish mount. What is that up
Oh,
there?
this one.
Uh,
Oh boy.
He's just gonna rip it off the wall.
he's gonna break it. I know he's gonna break it.
That's my special rainbow trout.
Oh, that's a special one.
Oh, that's a nice one.
Yeah, he's got the stupid hook jaw that was specially because I don't like the heck do they call those stupid things, replicas?
Yeah,
And you couldn't get a replica because the way his hook jaw was laid out.
yeah,
Definitely a mutant.
that was cool. Yeah, it's no tiger trout, but you know.
I got 2 of those up on the wall too. You want to go there?
Oh God!
Boy,
at
Josh is chiming in again. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
I thought your special guest was JL Scott. Oh boy.
Don't even get me going. Don't do it. Don't do it. I'm supposed to be the co-host and be on good behavior here.
Yeah. Anyhow, Adam, welcome to Chasing the 20 Inchers. We are the Susquehanna River local podcast. Here, we all live so close to the Susquehanna. We fish it as much as we can, and that's why we started a podcast. But we wanted to have you on because we know you're pretty close. You fish the Susquehanna pretty much, don't you, Adam?
Yeah, but that's I wouldn't necessarily consider it a local water, but I live here in Washington, Pennsylvania, about I don't know 45 minutes outside of Pittsburgh, west of Pittsburgh. So it's like a good 4 hours from me. But anytime I got an opportunity, I'm going to go up and fish the Susquehanna.
Yeah. I always hear you talking about that spinner bait, the one that you always catch the smallmouth on the river there. I think it's like a coleslaw color looking spinner bait, creamsicle.
Yeah,
creamsicle. Dreamsicle.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's from 412 bait. It's legit. I don't know what it is about that color up there. It works. It's like an orange. Yeah, there it is. Phase 4.
Phase 4.
Yep.
Yeah.
Quarter ounce. You're right. Quarter ounce. It's weird if what was it the quarter ounce or 3/8 ounce, but the quarter ounce is the one you want to go with.
Yeah. What do you think it is about that color that really gets them smallmouth going?
Man, I really don't know. Yeah, I want to say it's something different. You know, the Susquehanna is a type of river that you could do different things for smallmouth than you would normally. Like it's, a lot different than going up and fishing the Great Lakes and fishing tubes and small swim baits and things like that. Now you go out here, you throw, like a freaking topwater rat, or, I've heard of people using frogs to catch them. And so it's like these bass are just like, they're in for whatever looks different than what they've been seeing, Yeah. So
I know that's how kind of like I got introduced into your channel. Like I was watching one of your videos one day, a few years back, and you were talking about this spinner bait, and every time I tried to order one, they were always sold out, so I never got one. But
they're back in stock.
But yeah, that video is like kind of what got me started into watching your channel, which if none of you guys know, Straight Yacked, check him out, man. He's got a really cool channel. It's a really cool kayak fishing channel, and he really goes into detail on a lot of his videos and stuff like that with what baits he's using or whatnot. So
thank you, man. Appreciate that.
Yeah. So the reason we had you on, because about a week ago you posted a viral video that came out that it was a kayak cheating, and the guy that was blamed for it was a guy that we fish against pretty often here because he's local to the Susquehanna River. I fished a couple events against him, and we wanted to have you on to kind of, let's talk about it, I know there's some things. This is like a week ago, so we're kind of late to the party, but we do our podcast every 2 weeks, and we want to kind of keep everybody up to date with what's going on, even if they're not watching YouTube all week long. But
Yeah, it's been absolutely wild. My phone, when I posted that video, that I think it was so this is how it all sort of went down. Like, you know, Josh Sims has been the guy kind of working behind the scenes. So, I always give him and everybody else associated with him that were building the case against Jacob, I give them the credit. All I was is just a voice or face or whatever to bring about like the information. And so
well, yeah,
he
you
gave
had the
me,
platform. You had the platform
yeah,
to do it.
yeah, it was there. It was doing fairly good. It's doing really good now. But for all the right reasons, I guess. But yeah, he gave me he said, "Hey man, run with it." He's like, "Here's the information." I kind of wrote down as much as I could. And it was one of those things where he kind of kept me in a loop. Like if I would do anything, I would just try to help with like, so you'll see the photo running around of the fish, of him holding out the fish and the actual what he measured on a board. I was technically the one that kind of put that together. And what I did is I threw that in a photo editing app, through some, like I did a ton of contrast, pulled out the details so that you can really pick apart all the details of the fish to see if that was actually the same fish. But so anyways, he said, "Hey, just run with it." And I went down that night, which is Saturday night. I filmed it, and I rendered a video. And then by the time, I went to YouTube, you got to wait for YouTube to obviously render the video itself. And then it took forever. It took forever. And I was like, crap. He's like, "I got to go to sleep. I'm tired. It's like 2:00 in the morning." So I go back up, I go to sleep. I come back down around 7 a.m. I wake up and I notice 4K, everything's all rendered, ready to go. I just hit publish. I literally right here just went boop, and then I went right back up, went back to bed. Within 30 minutes, I woke up to my phone with like 5 or 6 different text messages from 5 or 6 different people. I had one missed phone call. I had Chad Hoover give me a call. It was all over the place. Like, oh my God, I look at it. And with like, it doesn't seem like a lot, but that video was really starting to make its rounds. Like within 30 minutes, I had like 300 views. I was like, this is going to get big. Like when people start waking up, and I think we did it on a perfect time because we did it on Sunday. Perfect. Yeah. Like there wasn't a lot of people doing anything on this Sunday, especially if you're, well, anywhere almost. Like it seemed like Sunday was like real rainy and like nobody was really going to do anything outdoors. So, but man, it just went absolutely wild. And like I said before, all for the right reasons, just exposing this guy. And I'm thankful. I'm thankful that we finally got like actual, like straight on evidence. Like literally there's nothing that you can say that's going to make anything better at this point. There isn't anything you could claim otherwise of simply, you knew you were cheating and you cheated. And I'm, again, thankful to Josh and everybody.
We have somebody in the green room right now, Adam, that you can thank.
Oh boy.
And this is a huge surprise for all the viewers that are watching. I hope one certain individual is watching right now, because I know he's a fan of my show. So we're going to bring this guy on, and he's going to speak. He kind of wanted to stay out of the light, but with everything that went on this week, he kind of came forward to me and reached out to me, him and another guy, and said they wanted there was some things that were like half spoke about. So we're going to bring him on. Brandon Yoder. What's going on, Brandon?
That is just for Jordan Welliver.
I love it. I love it, man. Brandon, welcome to Chasing the 20 Inchers, man. I appreciate you coming on.
Can you do the Undertaker thing where you dim the lights and I'll roll my eyes back and walk out?
Yeah, I ain't got the mixing board to do all that stuff, but we want to welcome you to the show, man. We appreciate you. There's you might have made kayak fishing into something totally different in the future as far as the rules go.
I don't know. I don't know about that. But yeah, I have I've been behind the scenes here. So everyone's talking about, in the last week, this, in the last week, this. This all started for me about 3 weeks ago. So that's where my timeline on this whole thing started coming to light. And over the course of the last week, there's been a lot of things said, a lot of all kinds of podcasts and videos done about, we have the facts, we're going to bring you the truth. And I just keep watching and I'm like, they only know what they know. And the truth is, I only know what I know. There is a backstory that's further back than my backstory yet, that goes back to
the
actual people that were on that trip, and how the information filtered through some of those people. So I'm not even claiming that I have the entire backstory. I only have the backstory about how this kind of came to the public light.
All right. I'm sure that you're correct about there's more to the story, because I have a post right here and I'm going to show it to everybody. This post on Instagram was posted back on October 15th. Right now it's November 16th. So you're talking about 30 days ago that this individual posted on his Instagram that he was pretty much taking a break from tournament fishing, and he was thinking about starting a kayak fishing guide service. Now,
you might want to jump on to that. That's
my wife said to me, after she heard about everything was going on, my wife said to me, she was interested in a kayak fishing guide service, and she wanted to know if we were going to be in a full kayak or a cutout kayak. That's what she asked me. But
you might find yourself really close to a dam too. So
yeah. And she also wanted to know, is she going to actually be able to set the hook, or are we just going to be putting hooks in fish's mouths and taking pictures? So that was for my wife, and my wife, I've talked to Jacob many a times. I try to be, I'm friendly with everybody. I try to be friendly with everybody. But there was some certain instances where we had conversations where it was kind of like, something's not right with this dude, like, especially the SFT tournament. I stood in the parking lot with him on Friday, was talking to him when we had to check our boards in and all that stuff. And he told me to my face in the parking lot on Friday that I was fishing for second place.
Huh.
He told me he said, I don't want to be cocky, but you're fishing for second place. That's what he told me. He said, I found a spot that's loaded with like 200 fish. They can't get out of it. Because the water's so low, they're in there. They can't leave. I asked him, I asked him, I said, well, can you get to the spot in your kayak without, getting out? He's like, yeah. Well, then I was like, how in the hell are they stuck in there then? If you can get to the spot without getting out of your kayak, how are they stuck in there? And then he said to me, there's a fish in there that's 21.5 inches. And I think that's what he caught for big fish, 21.5 inches. So, I mean, this guy, he's like, I don't want to sound like I'm being like ignorant or anything like that, but you're fishing for second place. That's what he told me. So after that moment, I was just like, man, this guy is either like super cocky or he's fucking cheating. Excuse my language, everybody, but when somebody's that cocky, even me, if I would find a spot like that had 200 fish and they were stacked up in there, you still got to catch them.
Yep.
And there's no guarantee that you're going to catch the biggest fish in that pot of fish. You still got to catch them.
Let alone where nobody was even there.
I do my thing. I fish the tournament. I go back to awards, and of course, he won the tournament. Of course, he caught the 21.5 inch for the big bass. And I'm just thinking to myself, man, something right here, I'm not going to call somebody out for cheating. I have no evidence, but something is not right here. This guy fishes so many tournaments and never has a bad tournament. What is going on?
So I was on a podcast probably about 2 days ago. Was it Fishing the DMV with Thomas Aarons? And he had actually put together a spreadsheet of all his wins versus, like, I guess he had AI kind of run through it and do a statistic. He had a statistic of an 86% win rate. And he told me, he said, do you know in the height of Kevin Van Dam's career, he was at a 10 to 12% win rate.
Yeah.
So you mean to tell me that this guy, 86% of his, like, had that good of a percentage on winning to, you know, compared to like the arguably the best bass fisherman in the world. So yeah, right there, you're 100% on board with like trying to figure out, like, you know, yeah, something shady's going on with this guy, man. And, you know, like I said, I'm happy things are coming to light. But
yeah, and I know Ryan and I fished against him in a Kayak Anglers of Central PA tournament back in, what was that, July? Was that July, Ryan?
June
or July. Yeah, it was June or July. It was like basically right after he came back from New York, and then he posted that he made a last minute decision to fish in this tournament, and I think he put up 96 inches. Ryan got second. Ryan got big fish for the tournament, and I came in third. But me and Ryan both thought he had taken pictures of the same fish, and we talked to the tournament director, and they couldn't find the right markings to see, you know, there wasn't enough evidence for us to win our battle with that. But I had a friend of mine that fished that area where he won from a couple days after the tournament and found some stuff that was kind of questionable, like kind of like not fish traps, but like I want to say it was like braided line tied to a bridge with a circle hook, stuff like that he could have done some things. I'm not saying he did because there's no evidence, but it just seemed a little shady because this guy, he just goes and wins like every freaking tournament that he fishes on the Susquehanna and doesn't have a bad day, you know. And we all have bad days.
Oh, everybody. And you look back at that event specifically, don't quote me, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I do believe that there was 3 or 4 19.5-inch fish. And the 4 pictures of those fish, 3 or 4, I, again, don't have everything up in front of me. They're blurry pictures, 2 hands on it. You can manipulate, do what you want.
Yeah.
Stuff went down. Apparently he had pre-fished it days prior, but it seemed fishy to me that every time that I would jump ahead of him with the different calls that I would get, all of a sudden 5 minutes later, it's, oh, boom. Like, okay, sure. But what are the chances of that every time after I got ahead of him? And I'm not trying to sound jealous by any means because again, we fish. This tournament is a charity organization. But if you're that desperate to cheat in something like that, everything else is going to come to light. And when it does, I really hope you get the help that you need and that you're punished properly. But
yeah, Matthew Weimer, I agree, man. If you look at his SFT fish, they did have bubbles all over them, like they were soaking in a live well with G juice for sure, man.
Yep.
I thought the same thing. He was fishing somewhere where nobody else was around. How easy is it for one of his friends or somebody like that to have fish in a live well and pull up on the side of the road? I mean, we're just speculating, but we have no evidence to this. But I mean, he's been caught and in a tournament that he was fishing for $200 for. What will he do when he's fishing for $10,000?
Fish a dam.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, the way that he cheated and got caught cheated, I mean, you have to speculate. You have to build a case in your mind because it's so odd. Like the whole cut out of the kayak, man, is just, I don't know if we've ever thought about that. We've always thought about somebody like
It's
dragging
genius,
a kayak. Yeah, dragging a kayak with a boat, or even getting a small. I was actually I was looking at I was at Cabela's the other day, and they have if you could call it a sit on top stunt boat, like it's literally like this big, and it's I think max capacity is like 100 pounds on it. I was like, I wonder if that would technically be legal to fish out of, but maybe we could have just put it as the Houseman special, but it's odd.
I mean, this dude, if he was smart, he could make some freaking money off of this.
Yeah, might as well just start selling merch at this point,
Yeah.
If he just pulled up to all the tournaments he's not allowed to fish anymore, you can just get out and start peddling all his stickers and shirts.
Oh, what's this? Could have had a cooler on an island. True, he could have done that. I mean, he could have went and caught fish days ahead of time and done that.
For a thing that I think about is like with a Susquehanna that skinny, that shallow, you could have easily created a fish dam easily.
Oh,
like if you knew that there wasn't any rise in water, man, you could have went out and caught these fish and just threw them in a pool. Like something that you just made with rocks. But who knows? Again, it's all speculation, but you can't really throw it out the door at this particular moment. Cause again, that was so creative, so wild. I think that's why this video went absolutely viral, because it's just one of those things. It's like, who would have thought it? Like we hear of what happened down at Lake Fork with the guy, using like Photoshop, which is ballsy to begin with. Like that's something that I would have never tried, because I just felt like there were too many ways to get caught. It has to be absolutely perfect, and you got to spend an enormous amount of time making sure that actual photo looks good.
And he got his hand on top of it and everything. Like,
I thought that was, that took a lot more. There was a lot more time invested in that and actually going out and fishing, let's just say. But, for at least with Jake, I mean, if we're going to give the guy some sort of, I hate to do it, some sort of credit, he does catch big fish. It's okay. I got no problem saying that, but I don't think his attitude, his arrogance, his egotistical attitude didn't help his case one bit. Regardless if he was fishing legally, that right there would make him one of the most hated in kayak fishing to begin with, let alone actually now getting caught. Now everybody gets to literally just, talk smack behind him, and he can't do anything about it. That's his fault. So,
So, Brandon, let's get into your backstory here as far as how this all came about. I'm sure everybody's interested in hearing because you were basically the guy behind the scenes, one of the guys behind the scenes that did a lot of digging.
Yeah. So if you go back even to this past summer, when that whole dam incident happened, and before I get into it too much, I already told you this, Carlisle, but for my part of the show, for my part of the story, I'm not really that interested in even talking that much about Jake Houseman. Right. I can explain everything without really talking about him. I'm not really looking to dig into the weeds of the type of person that I think he is, or the memes and the all that, all the AI edits that were humorous over the last week. It's just not necessary, and it's not the type of person that I am, but it's fine. I don't care. But even if you go back to this past summer when the whole dam incident happened, I stood up for it.
That was for the kayak adventure series and the No Limit Power Hour, and there was like 4 other events that were going on.
19 events that
was
day.
It July or August?
I think that was
August.
July.
Okay.
Was it August?
Yeah, it was August.
It was August. Okay. I did not fish that event. We had house damage from a storm, and we were out of our house for 2 months and just had a lot going on this year. Baby girl born 8 weeks ago, and it's just been a crazy summer. And so I did not.
Congratulations on that, Brandon.
Thanks.
Congratulations
Good
on
job,
that.
man.
But I've been friends with Jake Hausman. I was going back through some stuff, and I think for about close to 3 years that I've been, friends with him, as far as not like hangout friends, but message back and forth probably once every 2 weeks type of thing. On average, of just sending each other messages or talking about fishing or tournaments or whatever. And when everything went down in August with that dam incident, I stuck my neck out for him. Adam, I even had said something to you before you did your first show about the dam. I said something to you about, hey, make sure you got all the facts, because I knew some things that other people didn't know. And I know you'd said something about that, you got the facts, and I said, hey, do your thing then. And but I knew that this whole thing was just going to be a shit show from the beginning, and it was. And but I went to bat for him. I butt heads with some local guys in comment sections, and I had his back. And the biggest thing for me that I think it was that I didn't feel like the things that were public anyway were enough evidence to just want the blood of somebody like some people did. The things that were public. I know that there were things behind the scenes that weren't necessarily public, and I think those things should have came to light. But if people held on to those things, then that's fine. I'm sure they had their reasons to, and I found out there are some things behind the scenes from that incident. So then, for everyone else, where this whole thing started in the past about a week ago, this latest incident started for me about over 3 weeks ago now. And I have been anonymous for the most part up to this point. I had talked to some people that were involved in bringing this to light. I was sharing things behind the scenes about all this, but I was asking to stay anonymous. And I appreciate that I did stay anonymous. If anyone wants to question whether or not I'm just trying to gain clout now that this whole thing is so viral, I have timestamps. I have emails, text messages, pictures, screenshots. I have timestamps of everything. I have a timeline. You can go to the very top with Steve Owens and confirm that I was talking about this with him before it ever went public. So essentially what happened, and I'm going to be careful with my names here about the names that I talk about, but we're going to call it Sources 1, Source 2, and Source 3. Source 1 is the friend that was with Jake in New York. I'm not going to say his name either, but he made a video about his side of things about what went down. We
already know who number one is.
Okay. There's a source, and I did not talk to source number 1 directly, but this is the chain of sources that led to me digging and getting things about it all. There's source number 2, who's a friend of source number 1, and I will keep him anonymous. And then there's source number 3, who is somebody that I started talking to. He's not in the kayak scene, but he is a really good angler. And we were together, and we were talking about everything that went down this past summer. And I was telling him how I was, had taken the side of Hausman and was standing up for him. And he said, I know that Hausman isn't necessarily on the up and up. And I actually told him, I said, oh boy, I don't know if I want to know what you're about to tell me. And he proceeded to tell me about an incident that I don't have enough evidence for, separate of the New York event, so I'm not even going to go into it. But he told me about the New York incident, and he told me that he had a cutout of a kayak on a boat with him. And I was like, oh boy, that's big time. That's weights and fish. That's fish baskets. That's that level of things. And so he told me this, and he said, I'm going to send you some pictures. And he sent me, this would have been probably a day or two after, so still about 3 weeks ago, sent me pictures of the Twenties picture and the Instagram picture of the same fish. And I went ahead and saw those pictures, and then I went and took my own screenshots because I I didn't want to be going off of other people's stuff. I wanted my own evidence of everything. And I had these screenshots, and he told me that there is a picture out there of the cutout of the kayak. And I told him that I would like to have it, if at all possible. We were kind of back and forth of, hey, I forget exactly what I said to him, but he knew I was interested in it. And let's see. So there was some back and forth then about it, and maybe a week later, so now we're maybe about 2 weeks from now, from where we are now, he sent me a message saying, I saw the cutout again. Houseman is 100% cheating. Or he just said Houseman is 100% cheating, something to that extent. And I said, does that mean you saw the clip again? And he said, yes, he's using it to cheat in tournaments. So I still did not have the clip at this time, and I wanted to have 100% evidence that there's cheating. I knew with just the picture of the Tourney X and the picture from the Instagram that he could claim that he caught the fish on a boat, went back with a kayak, and caught the same bedfish. Now, that doesn't mean I'd believe him, but I wouldn't have any evidence to prove that didn't happen. So I still did not go public with anything. But at that point that I was told that there was a picture of this cutout, that was when I let a friend of mine know, someone who's in leadership with MAKBF. Now, I am going to say his name because he's been catching some strays because of how he stood up for or at least how it was perceived that he stood up for Houseman this past summer. So I'm going to say his name. I have permission to say his name for all of you all that are giving Mickey Forge crap about how he might have stood up for Houseman. He was a part of the behind the scenes on this whole thing and helping to bring it to light. So get off his back. I would like to say that himself, and if I toot my own horn here, myself tried to stay level-headed during this whole time. But when actual evidence started coming out, we said, hey, we got to do something about this. So I let him know that there is, I sent him the two pictures, the Instagram and the Tourney X picture. And I said, there's also a picture of a cutout, but I do not have it. And so there was some back and forth between me and him. About this same time is when there started to be some information coming out about possible lawsuits about, I guess, defamation that had happened assumed defamation over what had happened this past summer. Mickey leaked the photos to someone else, who then leaked it to Josh Sims, PA Bass Nation director. From there, it started to gain some traction. After that, I think it was the next day, Steve Owens posted a picture, Bassmaster director, posted a picture of a green cutout kayak and said, why would a kayak have saw marks? And I was like, oh man, this thing's getting out and I don't have the final piece of evidence yet. So I was playing goalie on this story behind the scenes, calling this person, messaging that person, trying to keep it on the down low so it doesn't all break publicly before the final piece of evidence is in. And I still didn't know if I could get the final piece of evidence at this point. So I called the person who had told Josh Sims about it and was like, hey, I am still trying to get something here. Like, I don't want this thing being public yet. It's fine, but at the same time, there's some things in the works here that, trying to have happen. I forget all of our conversation, but that was my goal. And I think it was the next day, I called Steve Owens from Bassmaster, and I had about a 30-minute conversation with him where I just laid out everything that was going on, that I do not have this piece of evidence yet, but it looks pretty damning. We had a conversation about it, and we left it at that. And he did tell me if I get that final piece of evidence, he would be interested in seeing it. Houseman has fished the Bassmaster, the Bass kayak events, which would mean he is a member of Bass. I want it to go to the very top. That was my goal this whole time, to get this thing handled from the top down instead of from the bottom of the cesspool up, which is how a lot of this stuff tends to go. You can disagree with my method, but I actually was trying to avoid the public outcry or the whole public crap show that occurs if possible. I knew that it probably could still happen, but I was trying to handle it from the very top down. I had told Mickey that if Bass doesn't do anything with it, I will be going to Slay Nation and MAKBF with it, since those are the two trails that I fish. I probably could have just gone to the New York director as well. I don't know him, but I probably could have gone with it. Probably maybe even should have gone to him with it as well. I believe it was the next day, then I was talking with my number 3 source and with Mickey, some back and forth between us. And I get a random DM from someone who I did not follow, and they did not follow me. It was just a DM request on Instagram. And it said, I think I have something you want. And before I could even reply to it, I get a picture of the cutout of the kayak on the back of a boat. And that's when I was like, oh man, I now have this final piece and I have to do something with it. I can't just sit on it. And I was almost kind of like shocked, because I was like, this is the piece I've been trying to get, but now that I have it, I actually have to do something with it. So I texted Mickey and I said, I have the final piece. And then I also texted Steve Owens and I said that I have the final piece that we were talking about. Do you want me to text it to you or email it to you?
So when you say the final piece, is that the picture with the boat and the kayak cutout on the back platform?
Yes. And this would have been, I believe, I could look back through. It was either Friday or Saturday. Everything broke Sunday. This would have been the Friday or Saturday prior to the Sunday when everything broke.
Yeah.
I texted Steve Owens. I said, I have the final piece. Do you want me to text it to you or email it to you? He gave me an email. I emailed it to him. In the meantime, I believe that was probably Friday night. Saturday then, the number 2 source that gave me that picture messaged that picture to the New York guys, where this New York and KBF monthly happened.
Yeah.
Now, I was a little bit like, man, that's not how I was trying to go about this. And I reached out to him. I said, you leaked that photo to the New York guys, didn't you? And he said, yeah, I hope it didn't mess anything up. And I said, look, it was your picture. You were allowed to do with it whatever you wanted to do with it. And that's when everything went public, is after it got to the New York guys. Now, Adam, I'm guessing you got it from the New York guys, or it filtered back to the PA Bass Nation director, and that's how you got it?
Yes, it was. Okay. Yes.
That's what I figured.
Yep. I was told to run with the story. I got as much information as I could. Yep. Now, your source 1 actually gave me a call Sunday after it all happened.
I gathered that.
Yeah. And so I got an opportunity to do I guess the very next day, an update on exactly how this all went down, which was, again, pretty wild. And he's, like you said, he's already come out with a video. Again, I'm going to keep his name out of it. That was his choice to do that. But the idea is I told him, I was like, I really appreciate this. If you, and I didn't know at the time, I was like, if you are in competitive bass fishing, I would do everything I could to at least erase any connections that you have with him, or to maybe make a statement, or something like that. But if you're not in competitive bass fishing, it's totally up to you. And he's been out of it for a little bit. But regardless, I don't want to get him into a situation where, there's people out there who would say, you see something, say something. Because, again, if you're not in competitive bass fishing, I don't see how it can negatively affect you. But at least he knew in the back of his head, like, this is really screwed up. Like, I don't want to, I don't want this on my conscience anymore. And supposedly now you can correct me if I'm wrong. I guess there was a certain situation where he just got tired of, like, Houseman's egotistical attitude is, I don't, that's what he told me. And I'm not sure if that's the same information you got, but in the end, like, the only thing that really matters at this point is, like, we figured it out. We got it all taken care of. I mean, thanks to you and thanks to, again, everybody else behind the scenes. But yeah, it's just a wild source of information all coming from one area. And so, like you said, Josh ended up just giving me the green light, because it was about that time, I'm sure you knew, like that picture was making its rounds. And regardless if you wanted it or not wanted it out there, it's too juicy of an information. Like this is like
juicy,
it's like here's somebody who is like for you, like who is like said, good luck, you're fishing for second place.
Absolutely.
If you would have had that information, you'd be like, that's it, I'm gonna put this guy down immediately. Just
absolutely,
like I said, his attitude never helped his case. Like, it's funny when he said that, I was immediately thinking is like when I was fighting, I was the type of guy who said, yeah, we'll go out there and see, what happens, who's going to be the better man, because the last thing you want to do is call your own ass kicking. Like that's the last thing I would ever want to do is call somebody out and say, I'm going to beat you, and then get my ass kicked in the process. And now I got to eat my own words, and So
apparently CTE to the YouTube warriors,
yeah, right. Yeah. There was actually a couple people who were like, it was this MMA fighter that was cheating on the St. Lawrence. I don't know if you saw that. I was like, yeah. And then you guys kind of went to battle for me. And they were like, the one guy said, yeah, it must have been that CTE #CTE boss. Like, damn guys, I just released the info. You ain't got to beat me up like that. I did get hit a lot, but damn.
I'm gonna jump.
All right. Before we keep going, I just want to take a quick 30-second commercial break. We'll be right back, guys. Hang in there. All right. Welcome back to Chasing the 20 Inchers, the Susquehanna River podcast. We have Adam Milstead and Brandon Yoder on here. And of course, T-Man, my co-host for tonight. Let's get back into it. Brandon, I know I don't think you've told the whole story yet, but if you want to kind of take off from where you left off, that'd be cool.
So when everything started breaking publicly, then I texted a couple people and I said I'm done. Or I think right before it started breaking publicly, I texted a couple people and I just said I'm done playing goalie on this story. It's gonna go public, and just let it happen, and the chips can fall where they lay afterwards. This whole thing honestly sucks. Like it really does, just for not just kayak fishing, but for anyone that actually was friends with Houseman. He presented anyway as a friendly guy. It wasn't hard to be friends with him, as far as if you were, I guess, at least willing to overlook a little bit of the cockiness and things like that. And I think he was careful who he directed that towards. I mean, it is what it is at this point. I haven't blocked him. I actually tried to reach out to him when this whole thing started going public, because I wanted him to hear from me that I'm the one who did this. I didn't want him to gather. And if he's watching this, he will now know that I'm the one who broke this, after having his back all summer long.
You snitch.
The snitch. Like I said, that's just for Jordan Welliver. He called me the snitch. So, but
I got a question for you when you're done then.
Yeah. I want to be clear on this. I am not the one who broke this publicly. I am not claiming that all of this happened because I did it necessarily. I was working behind the scenes. It all got leaked public from the person who leaked it to me, and that's when everything blew up. I do believe it would have blown up regardless. Personally, this is my own belief. I think it all blew up because I was digging behind the scenes. This information was sat on for some time before it all came to light like it is now. But like you said, Adam, I'm not interested in calling out any of the sources. 1, 2, or especially 1, 2, 3 is not his information was second and third hand before he gave it to me. So he's not even, he can't be condemned for anything, in my opinion. But I'm not interested in calling out sources number one and number two for anything. They are not in the competitive kayak scene, at least to the extent that most of us that fish tournaments are. I likened it to somebody where if you were driving a back road, let's say you're into cycling somewhat, and you're driving a back road and you see a cyclist hanging on the side of a car flying by. You're not, you don't need to take that information to anybody necessarily. You just witnessed it and it is what it is. But as far as any question, and like I said, they would have a further backstory than even my backstory. So any questions about anything that their involvement or what they did with the information can be directed to them. I don't need to answer for them. And I am glad, like you said, Adam, at some point it did start to leak out of the initial person who had it. And I would like to believe that he was feeling bad about everything that happened. And that's why he began to leak everything. And I will give him the benefit of the doubt in doing so.
I wish he would have felt bad about that about 3 months ago.
Yeah, right.
I must say, because that things could have. Ryan, you would have never tied for AOI, for Kayak Anglers of Central PA. You would have full out won if this would have happened 3 months ago.
And it's fishing. And at the end of the day, I know that I could go out there and beat him on fairgrounds. And what really, at this point, I want to ask Brandon, people in the chat. So the guys that defended him, after all the video evidence was submitted and everything, Brandon, I know you specifically said and went out and defended him. What was your reasoning behind that? In all honesty.
When you say the video evidence, what do you mean the video evidence?
So there was I seen a lot of it, had access to a lot of it, video and photo from the dam.
Okay.
To the point where his foot was up on the fish ladder, and then another source had come out and actually drove up to the courtroom and waited for him, and the officer had never shown up. So this guy specifically stated, oh, well, that's photoshopped. How is that photoshopped? And his foot is clearly right there on the side of the fish ladder. So when you seen that, what made you go, okay, he didn't do anything wrong? I'm just trying to feel it out here, if you know what I mean.
I don't mind you asking that. I like I said, I publicly defended him, and so with that photo of his foot on the foot ladder, I never heard of that. I never saw that public. Again, a lot of us, and I will also say this, the people that were condemning him were going off of second and third hand knowledge. And a lot of the people condemning him. And I just did not feel like second and third hand knowledge were enough evidence to say, ban this guy for life or ban this guy for 2 years or anything like that. I maintained that I thought so I knew he fished the fish ladder. I knew that, and I believe I told him in conversation, well, if you did that, then yes, the DQ is right. I will also say, and Adam, I'm not calling you out for this, although because you were the one who mentioned the fish ladder. I think the way that a lot of people that are not familiar with the fish ladder on that particular fish ladder on the Susquehanna, I personally think a lot of people were imagining a mechanical device or some type of staging device that takes the fish up the dam versus it being a natural looking roundabout. I gave him the benefit of the doubt in saying that, it's not like he was throwing a lure into a bucket, but I did say that I think I even told him that if you were fishing the fish ladder, I can't defend that. But that fish ladder part of it was only about 10% of the accusation. The main part of the accusation was fishing too close to the dam. And there was 2 or 3 main photos that were made public that were circulating publicly about that fish dam. I just felt like, and I know what it's like to look at things on the water. I know what it's like to take pictures on the water. It is very tough to say that a certain picture is this amount of feet or this amount of yard. And I talked to TDs after that event. I'm not going to say who TDs, because I don't know if this is about me. I was given some waypoints by TDs of where fish submissions were from. The worst one that I was given came up within, I believe, 90 feet. And I asked the TD, I said, well, what's the plus and minus on the waypoint when you submit a fish? Like, is it a plus or minus 10? What is the plus or minus? There were claims of, and then there was this whole thing of the boil versus the dam. And I can understand if a person doesn't, we all kind of know 100 feet from a dam. I can be understanding if a person doesn't know it's the boil for that particular dam, because I believe some of the other dams are the dam itself. And the general knowledge that I've always had and I've heard in tournaments is 100 feet from a dam. So based on those things, I just was like, I believe I told some people, he might have been 96 feet from the dam for that waypoint. That is definitely a DQ if you're a tournament director, but I don't see the ban based on that. There was a lot of accusations too from previous tournaments, and I felt like people were giving the weight of accusation, or the accusations, the same weight as what they were giving the DQ for that dam tournament. And a lot of those accusations were second and third hand knowledge. My buddy told me this. Well, someone else said that he did this in a tournament, and someone else said that he did that in a tournament. I was like, you can't give those the same weight as a DQ for fishing a dam where everyone sees that he did it. So that was my reasoning. I do believe that for some of us that were more on his side of things, that we were hearing one side of the story, because I did hear then that he admitted to KAS that he's caught, you got me. But yet he's fighting it in court and telling us I never got close to it. I was never too close to the dam. Now, when he admitted that to KAS, I don't know if he was admitting about the fish ladder or about the dam itself. But I do think that some of us that were closer to him were hearing kind of one side of the story, and something else was going on for some of the people on the other side of the story.
Well, my thing too is, so you look at the bigger picture here, right? You have multiple emails that are sent out on Tourney X, and yet you still want to press those.
Yeah. That's what I was getting ready to talk about that, because
I was part of that. Before we get into that, can I ask you a question? Was that a generic email that was sent out to everybody in the tournament?
I got the email
specifically to the 6 or 7 people that were at the
No, that was to everybody.
Okay.
Everybody got that email. I have the stuff still in my email, so I mean it's all there.
I was getting ready to pull that up. You guys keep talking. I might be able to pull that guy up.
Yeah, it was sent to me, and I was nowhere near a dam.
Mm-hmm.
And it was sent to me early in the morning on Saturday morning, I think it was.
I got them Friday and Saturday. I think there was a total of 5 that were sent out.
Yeah, there was a couple emails that were sent out, or even through Tourney X, there was messages sent out to all the anglers that said, make sure you're staying away from, following the state regulations for the dams.
The reason I asked that question is because it was put out publicly that those emails were directed to the people at the dam. When I from what I understood, it was a generic email. Unless I was lied to, there was communication between Houseman and the tournament directors, or the KAS tournament director, on Friday evening about where he was fishing.
Just a screenshot.
And like I said, unless I was lied to. So I can understand if you're in communication with the tournament director, and then a generic email goes out saying stay back from the dam, it is easy for you to go, okay.
Message from director of tournament kayak adventure series, Susky 5 Slamma-Jamma, 30 yards, 100 feet from the dam. Be sure to stay approximately 30 yards to 100 feet away from the dam when fishing. No one has a rangefinder, blah, blah, blah. So everybody got that. Josh Sims wasn't near a dam. and he got that message.
How many of those messages were out? Because I swear there was probably 3 or 4 that we got, like 2 on the first
I
day, and
wonder
then
if I
another.
still have them.
Yeah,
Let me
2
check my
on the next day.
20X.
It
I
just
might
kept,
still have on there.
yeah, it kept going through. And but that's the thing, like if you're there. So I don't know if you've ever watched the Rock Crawlers episode of that event. So
Yeah.
if you watch the Rock Crawlers episode, you can literally see him damn near 30 feet in front of everybody, like literally right where everybody can cast. He's in that area. So if you're seeing, the however many people, what was it, like 4 or 5 people there, Jody Queen was one of them for the first part of the day. If you're seeing them like behind you and they're all lined up right there, but you're in front, like, and then all of a sudden you're starting to get messages like, hey, stay 100 feet back. And then you got Jody Queen behind who's yelling at you, say, hey, bud, you're fishing too close. You need to back up. And he just throws his hands up and calls it a day. Like, at what point do you start to claim ignorance versus like, hey, I'm right and they're wrong? Like, that's the only thing that we're at in a position with that particular tournament is like, I don't care if they tell you, I always make this analogy. Like if there's a special rock in the middle of the river and they tell you don't fish the rock, don't fish it.
Yeah,
don't fish
exactly.
it. No matter if you're right or wrong, the tournament calls you to not fish it. Like regardless if you think the fine lines between the state regulation, and so that's where I'm at with it. Once they said that, like I'm gonna be like, oh crap, I'm in question here. Let me back off. Let me do something. But none of that was done. That's the only thing.
With the Rock Crawler video, he went in front of Rock Crawler. The only thing about that is Rock Crawler is, I think he's fishing in some of that video, and then he's also tying up baits.
It's Creek Crawler.
Creek Crawler.
Creek Crawler.
I would put up on if I'm fishing somewhere, I'm going to find a rock and put up on it to change out baits like it looked like he was doing. That to me did not tell me that he's 100 feet. And then Creek Crawler went on to say he went behind Jody after he passed, and because he said something about, is he going to go in front of Jody? Oh no, he's going to go behind Jody. Of course, you're going to go behind Jody, or something to that extent. Again, I'm going off of what's being told me, and at this point, I had told someone else that also had been kind of going, hey, I don't agree with this public crucifixion that's occurring. That I told him, I said, at this point, I can't believe anything that I was told from Houseman. However, again, I am going off of what was public. Adam, I'm sure you talked to Jody himself after that event. Yeah. I'm guessing you did. And so there's different viewpoints, but I was going off of, even if you were at that event, but you weren't there at the dam, in my opinion, you're getting second and third hand knowledge of what occurred at the dam if you're not there. And I just didn't feel like second and third hand knowledge were it for this. And I will say this too, that is why I waited when I was gathering evidence before I did anything with it. I said, I want the 100% evidence. I want that picture of the cutout before I do anything with this evidence. I had pretty damning evidence. But I was like, I don't want to do this whole thing where everyone has a view on what is 80% of the full story. I want the final piece. You can disagree with me for siding with him. I'm fine with that. But that mindset led to me getting the final piece before this whole thing blew up. And had this whole thing blown up before the final piece came in, that final piece could have been deleted and done away with. It's just screenshots. It's just a video. It could have been done away with. It could have been completely wiped. I know I'm tooting my own horn and saying that, but I do feel like the way I went about it, there was a reason for it. And you can disagree with that. That's fine. But I do believe that's why where we're at now is because we had everything before it went public.
And you didn't know the full story behind it. So I do get where you're coming from. You look at it and go, well, okay, so this is pretty damning evidence. You're in that position where you're kind of in the middle of it, like, okay, do I go this way or do I go that way? But
look, I'm in the same boat with you, like not bringing the stuff to light unless you had the full information. I kept his name out of the first video that I posted because, again, I would said, this individual. I didn't say Jacob Hausman. And a reason behind that is because, yes, I'm sure there's somewhere along the lines that you could claim defamation. And if he really wanted to spend the money to go to the court, sure, we could fight it and things would probably not go well in his favor regardless. Like there probably wouldn't be enough information for, the sim to say like, well, Adam, I think you're, 2,000 plus subscribers are going to really like hold against this guy. Like, no, like it's one of those things. I made the video to put the information that I was getting from the people that were potentially at risk of getting sued, that were potentially at risk at getting defamation lawsuits, because these are the people that were under contracts, who had the contracts, who had the permits to fish and things like that. And so when I get information from them and I'm getting, now here's the thing. I didn't know much about Jacob Hausman until literally I stayed at Ryan's house that night. And I was like, dude, this dude's got like over 100 plus inches already. Like what? He's like, yeah, he's fishing the dam, and I'm like, oh boy. And so I didn't really know much about it. And finally, so I had no bias. That was that outside source. And I'm always the type of guy, innocent until proven guilty.
Same.
But then again, like you had, this was not only kayaking or kayak adventure series or PA Bass Nations. Was also Native Watercraft, Slay Nation, Keystone. Was there something else? There was, I guess you could say the Team KAS, but everybody all banding together. They all had the evidence. There's evidence out there. Drew has already gone on and talked about the evidence. In fact, already had like a list of things to say when it all came out. I get it. But here's the thing. If you see a photo with him and his foot on the fish ladder or whatever it is, that's breaking law. Nobody else can do that in a tournament. I can't drag my boat into a pond and go fish it. It's breaking the law. Like, so
yeah, but it was photoshopped. It was photoshopped.
Oh yeah, you're right. That was, I'm sorry, I forgot about that. Here's
the thing. I'm not aware that picture made the public rounds. I'm not saying it wasn't out there publicly, but I'm not aware that picture made public rounds.
Well, we can get you that picture.
That's fine.
That's not a problem.
At this point, it doesn't matter to me. Like, it doesn't at this point. But like myself, like the hundreds of other people only had the public information or the information that was out publicly. For myself as well, I also was in contact with Hausman following that. Immediately after the DQ, I actually sent him a message and I said, hey, look, I said, I don't know if this was intentional or if something inadvertent. This was the first message I sent to him after. I said, I don't know if this was public or intentional or inadvertent. I said, but you've always been nice to me and I'll talk to you if you need someone to talk to. That was my initial message to him after it all. I have never been the type of person going through school or whatever to hate a teacher just because all my classmates hated a teacher. If that teacher never did anything to me, okay, we're cool.
Let me ask you, Brandon, he had GoPro, right? He had a GoPro running, right?
I had all
so.
his videos from that tournament sent to me. And my wife looked at him, I looked at him, and it looked like he was a little bit close. But
are they pretty damning?
Yeah. And here's the thing. I got a new phone like a month and a half to 2 months ago, I'd say. And when everything got transferred over, the guy was like, yeah, you got everything? I was like, yeah, I got everything. And then I got home and I was like, God darn it. Like, I have nobody's messages saved through Facebook or anything like that. So I don't have any of the evidence, but he sent me he was GoProing that day and he sent me all his catches on video.
Right. And if they exist, why not go public with it and just say, hey, you better, lawyer up or something. This is it. I mean, what is it? It's like going forward, going public with it isn't going to ruin any case for you. In fact, it's going to help save your name, plus be really damning to the actual tourney directors.
But
But you know
it's also a GoPro, so it's kind of hard because of the wide angle.
Mhm.
It's really hard to judge the distance with the GoPro. Really hard.
That was my main case in the whole thing. It's just like I can't look at a picture and say he's 95 feet instead of 110 feet off of a picture.
Yeah.
There's just even looking when I went and used the scale for the fish ladder, the bottom of that fish ladder, because I saw the picture of him fishing the fish ladder, but you can't tell in relation to where he is on that fish ladder as far as up or down. Precisely. And when you look at that, when you use the scale on Google Maps of that fish ladder, the bottom of the fish ladder area is that 100 is a little over 100 feet. And so I'm looking at it going like, there just needs to be something more to just go all out. And again, I know that there's things behind the scenes. I was sent one of those pictures. And even if you're being generous, in my opinion, one of the pictures that was behind the scenes, I was sent it. And even if you're being generous, you still have to almost put him within 100 feet. But again, this is not the photos that were made public. And if people were keeping that photos in case they go to court, I completely understand it. Maybe that's the reason that some people were handling on to holding on to some of these pictures.
Yeah, here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Molly Chaser.
Yeah,
Sorry,
we are.
real quick.
We are.
We are. We have access to all this stuff. So hate to burst your big bubble that's the size of a damn planet right now. You're in the wrong. I'm sorry. This whole time. You're in the wrong.
Just say it. I mean, Smalley Chaser, we know who you are.
Here's the thing, guys. Like, there's been elite anglers. There's been Drew Gregory broke a rule and got DQ'd. He even if he didn't know the rules, okay, he got DQ'd. He got bashed for that DQ. Cheater, all this stuff, right? He didn't deserve that for that incident. He did not deserve that for that incident. Do you guys agree with me?
I do, because at the end of the day, you're not good. I mean, what he did was wrong, correct. But you look at the two different people we're talking about, this guy knew what he was doing the whole time. Rules and regulations were out the window, and his statement of, I'm going to fish the TKS at this same spot next weekend, that's why I didn't fish that event. And it took up until, I think, Wednesday or Thursday for him to be DQ'd from that because of that statement. But, yes, Drew Gregory did make a very big mistake, and people put him on blast. He admitted to it, and I do like Drew. I've had good conversations with him. He's always been that guy that goes, okay, well, if I can do this to give me an advantage, why not? And you could look at it and go, it's a gray area, or, okay, it's, you can do it. He's always testing the boundaries and looking for a way to go out and fish. I mean, you look at his boat, the dude doesn't even own a fish finder. So he's going out and fishing places that most people can't get to. Some of it, okay, you go, could you really get back there? Other times it's, man, great job. You went out, found fish in a place that nobody else would go out and fish. So he had his public, I don't even want to call it shaming, but look where he's at now. He's learned from his mistakes. Clearly the last guy didn't learn from his mistakes, and now he's going to live up to a very ruthless kayak community that has zero filter. So that's just my input. That's just my input. I'm nobody, but that's just me.
I was talking with someone else about this, and one of the issues with kayak fishing, and I don't know if we want to get into the weeds on this one, but one of the issues with kayak fishing is that you're always looking for the competitive edge, but yet you're supposed to self-police. And as someone who's played sports all my life up until, I played high school. I went to a small private high school, but we played high school sports. After I got out of that, I played men's league softball for years, even up like playing at the state level stuff. And you're always trying, like, there's nothing better in the competitive sport than if you slide into second, and the second baseman tags you, and the ump calls you safe, and you look at the second baseman, you're like, Hack got away with it. You're not going to go to the ump and say, hey, actually, he tagged me. I am out. I'll just go back to the dugout. Yeah. That's the fun part of competitiveness is fun. Don't point fingers at me now as the cheater, but like is finding a gray area and going, oh, I have an advantage with this.
Yep.
That's a part of competitive sports. I had one of my favorite things that ever happened in softball. I slid into second and scooped the ball out of the guy's glove as I was sliding in. You're not allowed to do that, but you have an ump watching everything, and the ump's call is the final call. We don't have that in kayak fishing where the ump can watch everything. And so you end up kind of with this situation where everyone's wanting a competitive edge, but yet you have to self-police. Those two do not go hand in hand.
I agree. You're
100% right.
Okay, so here's what I think. Why not just keep all the dams off limits? 1,000 yards, you can't be no closer than 1,000 yards to a dam. Then in a river.
Get ready for the report that someone broke 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
That's my only issue with that. If someone says, oh, it's this power line, get ready for the report that someone crossed the power line.
And guess what? If they cross the power line, they get DQ'd.
Yeah.
Yeah, but same with 100 feet. Like you're still gonna have it. I
don't think so. Not so much because
you create hard boundaries. That's what it is. The hard boundaries are, Dock Street Dam. It's the 83 bridge. If you make Shady Nook the hard boundary, don't go above Shady Nook. That's it. Like, what are you going to do? Fish some real slow moving water? Fine, if you can find them there or whatever. But regardless,
I'm not saying we shouldn't. I'm just saying the reports are going to come in that someone went beyond the little bit of a line of a bridge, and you're going to end up with a photo that you can't really tell. It's going to happen.
Well, if you have hard boundaries and you get a photo, you could probably tell. I would say.
Yep.
Because right now with these boundaries that we have for the dams, there's no hard boundaries.
Yeah.
We're just going off of photos that aren't perfectly in line with to tell that they're 100 feet away from the dam.
Well, and subject change, kind of, sort of. I went down to Dock Street the day after the SFT event. I went out to that rock where that famous angler that got second place, that coincidentally was Mr. Houseman's buddy. 90 feet, rangefinder. I went out there. I was up to my chest. And I have a witness to prove everything. So I go out and gather all this evidence that was already gathered from the day before, and nothing was done about that. It was swept under the rug, and it was never brought up on the lives or nothing. So I'm over here going, and I'm going to question what their thought process was. And I'm not taking a shot at the tournament director that was put in place, because I feel, and this is just me, that they told him this is what has to be done. We can't do this. The evidence was brought up the second that event was over. No investigation, no nothing. So now we got a place of business, and I'm not going to put anything out. They wanted to try something.
Say it, Ryan.
Say it.
Fishing tackle. Used to love the place. George, Mike, great guys. They went out, had this big event, big sponsors. Everybody got a free rod. The rod itself's $100, and it's a great rod.
Yeah.
But here we go to go fish an event, and there was evidence that was brought up to the table, photos, videos, the whole nine. And the angler knew he was caught when he put the hood up over.
Well, you got to remember this. These guys are a place of business, right? This is their first time doing anything with kayak fishing. The only reason they did something with kayak fishing was because they get a lot of business from us kayak anglers. A lot.
It was a good cash grab, that's for sure.
Yeah. So these guys, and they really don't know all the rules. Mike Reinhold was the guy that took care of the behind the scenes, because he's been in the kayak
Love the guy,
industry
and I
for a
love the
while.
guy to death. I really do. Mike is a damn good guy. Love him to death.
They
Top
were
of the
supposed
line.
to have the winners on their next podcast, and they never did that because they didn't want to deal with all the bullshit.
Yep.
So
I think something should have been launched, an investigation or something at that point. But it comes back to the dam scenarios again of where we go.
exactly.
Here we go. Here we sit.
Just take the dams out of the dam tournaments, and everything will be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
But I think too, you have to say whatever that hard boundary is. Does that mean these are things I've noticed in kayak rules? I try to read the rules before a tournament, but often it will say like this is the boundary or something like that. It needs to be stated whether it means you cannot go beyond that boundary or whether you cannot fish beyond that boundary.
Let them fish. Like, what is it? 83 bridge. What are you going to fish there? Like nothing.
I'm just saying,
if you get
that needs to be specified because it often isn't. You'll have things like don't go behind like a stay out, one of those stay out buoys that might be around like a dock. It needs to be specified. Does that mean you can't fish behind it, or does that mean you can't physically go behind it? I just feel like some of these things leave gray areas. Like we're still, I think in kayak fishing, we're still learning. And when things like this happen, it points out where more harder lines need to be made. At the same time, I hate all the hard lines. I hate that we have pages of rules now.
No, going back to the SFT tournament, they had opportunity to listen to the anglers and they didn't. I have plenty of chats with people within the PA Bass Nation that stated, this is what needs to be done. This is what needs to be done. And it didn't happen. So that's another situation that's going to raise some eyebrows. I was more angry at how SFT ran it and their inability to listen to the angler or our protest of that situation, regardless of the guy literally fishing the dam literally by himself out of 125 anglers. Like, don't even get me started. If you're by yourself in an area, like nobody else is around, you're in the only area that has a dam and has water, and there's 2 areas on their website plus the Tourney X both said to not fish the dam. I've got proof of that as well. And it's like you either got inside information on how you could potentially fish the dam, which is kind of damning in itself, but then also at the same time, that gave that guy a particular edge versus everybody else. The whole point about a hard boundary is that you eliminate the gray area, regardless of that boundary being a gray area. I mean, make the boundary be, freaking 50-foot, area of just straight shoal, just like, you throw a lure up there and it's going to be out of the water. Like make it something like that. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, but regardless, tourney directors at this particular moment need to pay attention to the anglers, need to pay attention to the majority of the anglers. The anglers are the ones that are coming in here and telling you how to avoid any drama in your tournament. And if they come to you and give you that information, then you best damn listen to them. They're the ones that are number one paying for the tournament to go through. And then at the same time, you're planning on, like the SFT tournament, having something that's going to be an annual thing, which we're all for. We love it. Fantastic. Kayak fishing's getting big. You're going to have a situation where these guys don't want to be a part of it anymore. They don't want to be a part of that tournament. And there's enough hard-nosed individuals in this industry who aren't going to be a part of your tournament just because of 3 years ago you didn't listen to the angler. So regardless if you make the decision now or later on, it's going to be hurtful.
Yeah, just like Josh Sims says, exploiting a gray area equals lack of integrity, which is 100%, man.
Exactly.
They lost my business. I will never shop there, and I will never fish their events again. And if a formal apology does come out that, hey, we should have looked into this, great. But I feel, and this is just me, I'm going to go off the record, and I'm going to take a hell of a shot in the dark. I feel Mike Reinhold was put in a position where, and he's always been a hell of a nice guy. I will always have his back 100%. He got thrown into a position where he's like, well, I'm stuck with this and this. George and Mike were like, well, we got to make people happy and just do what we think is right. And it wasn't. So, in the return of things, you look at a handful of us, if not more now, that fished that event specifically. You're talking thousands of dollars in revenue that you're losing because now I'm going to order stuff from a different company. And if I got to buy a new rod, I'll take an hour drive up the road to buy a St. Croix rod that I probably don't need, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Like
in that particular event, like with adhering to the rules that was established in both the website and on Tourney X, you had a friend of ours who fishes PA Bass Nation all the time, Bill Durborough, who lost how much money? What do you do? Take 7th, I think. So he probably lost another $1,000.
Well,
due to that.
Mike did release a video, and he was very politically correct in that video. The whole 9 with that video that he had released, I believe it was yesterday. And to me, he was told that it wasn't being an asshole to fish the dam the way that he was, and it wasn't intentional. No, it was so that he was able to fish that event. And then everything just kind of spiraled out of control after that. And, Saturday we all went out and fished. And this is what we woke up to.
Mm-hmm.
And I personally feel Mike was put in a hard place because he has a big heart, a damn big heart. Love the guy to death. But I feel he was trying to make everybody happy and trying to keep everybody level-headed. And I'm a very hard-headed person. We all seen what happened. We all know what went down. And that's why I feel the way that I do, that, he released this video and it was a great video and he went in depth with it. But I also have to look at the bigger picture and go, Mike, what's going on? Because everything was here, evidence was here, and now we sit in November with all this other stuff that just came out. Like,
yeah, it's not good.
No.
Was Houseman involved with SFT at this point? Like, I don't want to start making biased claims here by any means, but what's going on?
This whole thing isn't good for kayak fishing overall. I mean, this is like a illness to kayak fishing, and I'm hoping that all tournament directors learn from this situation, not just the SFT tournament. I mean, the things that happened after all the stuff that came out last week.
Look at all the rules we're implementing for 2026 for KA because of this specific individual that came out.
Yeah,
who doesn't have integrity.
Things are going to change big time. And I pray for Jake, because to go through and do what he did for who knows how long, he has a sickness, and I'm going to pray for him to get well, because I mean, you have to be sick to even think to do something like that. Like, you're not having fun fishing if you're doing these things. I go fishing to have fun and to compete, because I'm a very competitive person. And I couldn't even imagine to do anything tying up fish or whatever has been done. That's not fun to me. I want to go out there and actually catch the fish and actually win without doing anything wrong. Honorably.
No doubt. Yeah, no doubt. Everything.
I did that for an
MAKBF.
MAKBF event, and it was the best feeling I ever had in my life. One of the best, besides marrying my wife.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing right now is anybody that's ever been associated with Houseman. I've had a few conversations with, particular people out there. I'm not going to name them, obviously. I said, do what you can to, unlike all his photos, do what you can to literally sever any sort of connection with this guy, because I don't think we've seen or heard the last of what could potentially come of this whole cheating scandal. We got a lot of eyes out there right now, and a lot of people are putting things together that go further into that stuff that have been told that I still haven't heard or still haven't gotten confirmation, but there are some rumors out there to him doing something else, and it's only going to, I think it's only going to get worse. But the big thing I think from this whole sort of situation is that we make Hausman the example. Unfortunately, yes, like you said, man, pray for him. Hopefully he has some a form of repentance and a renewing of his mind and understanding. Like, there is a prideful situation going on. That is something you need to take into account. You need to adjust it and then come out on the other side better. I mean, unfortunately, you're not going to ever be a part of any kayak competitive bass fishing, let alone maybe bass fishing in general. But, basically the risk to reward, you guys got to take in effect. Like, if he wants to risk it all for $200, look at his reward at this particular moment. He's gotten what he wanted. He's gotten what he wanted with his Instagram. Right. He is the most popular bass fisherman in the world currently right now. And again, if you're associated with him in any way, shape, or form on the internet, videos, things like that, disassociate with him immediately. And it might help yourself out later on.
Well said, Adam.
Maybe for myself, I chuckle every time that someone comes on and leaves a comment that I had left on Hausman's things going, "Oh, that didn't age well." And I'm just like, again, you have no clue what's really going on here. So maybe some of us are just a little sick in that we enjoy a little chuckle when people come onto those comments.
Well, I think there will be legal repercussions out of this at some point, depending.
It has to
who
be,
and
who
wants to do it and what. Pennsylvania Fish and Boat Commission absolutely had failed miserably. That officer himself
never even showed up.
Pointed in.
Yep.
I think a bigger investigation is going to be launched at some point, and I could be just speculating, but at the point that we're at now, you look at the walleye guys. Pennsylvania Fish and Boat, Ohio Fish and Boat, DNR, whatever they have over there. Boats were seized. Guys were arrested.
Yeah.
Stuff was
They went
done.
to jail.
Yeah.
This is where we need to make a stand and go, okay, let's launch a full investigation on 2025. And if we find stuff, we go further back. And not just including the events that we found, but this is how we make a stand and go, if you want to fish a kayak event, you need to have integrity and respect and fellowship for the guys that you're fishing with. And if you're not going to have that and you get busted and caught, you will be dealt with to the fullest extent of the law. You lose your license, you go to jail. I don't care. Enough is enough. If you're that desperate to start winning $200, $300, even $1,000, if that's life-changing for you, then you got some other problems going on up top.
Yeah.
I'm pissed off and I'm sick of it. The cheating is enough in this industry. We all go to work. We all bust our asses every day. And you have these guys that come out here and think, oh, we have a leg up on this guy because we have a pot here, or, oh, we can fish this and not get caught. No, enough is enough. And to think you're going to cut out a kayak and not go viral for it, you need to go see a psychiatrist and you need to see Jesus, because that was low. That was seriously low. I'm sorry, but I'm pissed off. I really am. The way this community is right now, we're all bonded together and, oh, we're going to go after one guy right now. But how about the rest of the guys that are out there possibly doing something? So as directors, anglers, everybody, it's time to wake up. If you see something, say something. Because if not, our community isn't as big as a bass boat tournament, bass anglers, the guys on the big bass boats. But if I'm a kayak manufacturer and go, oh, I want to sponsor a series or do this and see that, guess what? I'm pulling out, closing up my shop and going somewhere else.
Yeah.
That's
well, guys, Bassmasters is coming to the Susquehanna in 2026, and I hope they lay down some solid rules for this tournament. even though Jake will not be fishing that tournament, just so this is like a learning lesson for everybody. I'm almost like not happy that this happened, but this could have happened at any time, at any moment to people that like to mess around with the gray areas, right? So I'm almost glad that this happened because we're all going to learn from it. All the tournament directors are going to learn from it. They're going to make special rules. They might do the release, the video release rule over 17 inches. If you catch a fish over 17, you got to take a video of it, taking it off the board and releasing it and making sure the fish swims away, right? So this is actually a good thing for our sport to make it stronger, I think. It sucks that it happened the way it did. It sucks that somebody had to basically ruin his life because he ain't ever going to be able to fish a tournament ever again as far as Tourney X goes. I don't know what's going to happen with Fishing Chaos and everything else, but I'm sure he will not be fishing any tournaments ever again. His name is on the blacklist and he's done. But yeah, like I said, we're all going to learn from this for sure. Do you guys have any closing statements you want to take? We'll start off with Brandon.
Yeah, nothing much. I think that when I talked to Steve Owens, I said everyone can learn a lesson here, not just the person who ended up cheating. And what I mean by that is I don't disagree with going after somebody, but you have to be careful with how you do it. There were potential defamation lawsuits that I think could have gone either way at this point had not all this come to light. So I think that, there's things that everyone can learn. TDs can learn here. I do think that TDs deserve a whole bunch of respect, but I also think TDs can be held accountable, like what happened here in the the $10,000 event. I won't say it either, but I do think that for myself, I want fishing to be fun again.
Yeah,
I think that we move beyond this at some point, and I think that we can make fishing fun again. For myself, if you have a buddy who's doing this type of cheating, tell the truth.
Yeah.
If they're especially if they're trying to keep you from telling the truth, they're not your buddy. You're just their fallback. You're their shield. He wasn't telling me that he was cheating like this, by the way. Like, that wasn't happening. But yeah, we can all do things to make this sport more fun and better, and learn from this situation for everyone involved.
Thank you. Adam, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm just happy we got him off the list, man, or we got him on the list, I guess.
On the list.
Off of the tourney trails. Very happy that this has been taken care of. But in general, kind of piggybacking Brandon here, just in a sense, like if you got a buddy who's all of a sudden making you associated with a crime, he's not your buddy. So disassociate yourself as quickly as possible. Say something, save yourself some situations that you could be thrown into. Heck, you could be a part of you could be part of a trial, like, and that's terrible.
Yeah.
But if you got any association with anybody who wants to cheat that bad in a very small amount winning tournament, like, get rid of them. But also, I do want to mention to a lot of the other anglers out there who have in the past have said, well, see, this is why I don't do kayak bass tournaments, because there's too much cheating involved. You're only going to hear, really, like, you're going to hear a lot about a very small percentage chance of cheating happening.
Yeah.
This doesn't mean that just because some guy got caught, embezzling money out of a charity, that you stop putting money into charity events because, like somebody, 10 years ago did something. Yeah, Bill. But in general, like, this is, I want people out there to love the point of kayak fishing. And I've said it over and over again. The reason why I love doing the kayak bass tournaments is that you're getting a chance to meet up with people that you have never known who had the same passion as you. You're building camaraderie with people that you would have never known you would have built camaraderie with. I like with Ryan, like I got a chance to stay with this house. I think Ryan's and us have just become like really good friends lately. Unfortunately, out of this negative situation, but hey, there's always good that comes of it. And that's the idea about kayak fishing in general. Kayak fishing is such an awesome opportunity, especially for me. When I left the whole MMA world, it was like I had no purpose left. I had nothing left to look forward. I ran into severe depression.
Well, here you go, Adam. Here you go. What is this comment here? If Jake can survive one round with Adam in the octagon, we will consider what? Consider?
Consider letting him fish a dam or so, you know.
Yeah,
I could take Adam in a bar fight. Give me a couple IPAs and
yeah. So
you like twisted teas.
So getting back to what you were saying, Adam, like after you stopped MMA and stuff like that, was kayak fishing your like safety net?
Absolutely. You know, I was part of a group of individuals made up of both combat war veterans and individuals who were like pro athletes. Like these were NFL players, NHL players, things like that. And they all had the same idea. Now, granted, don't put us with the freaking combat vets. That's a whole nother realm of stuff, whole nother realm of like a purpose, then all of a sudden having nothing. Plus you potentially have PTSD. But at least for like the athletes, man, when you have nothing left, that competitiveness, you had nothing left to throw that competitiveness in, especially if you thought you left too early, which I did. And so kayak fishing was just something that I was like, great, I got something I can look forward to. I got something that I can build relationships with other people, with other guys out on the water. I'm a man. Men love puzzles, and trying to figure out a pattern in mid-March on a lake is a puzzle that is like something that if you find out, it's great, you know. And so we've got an opportunity to set goals, accomplish goals, and when you win, it really means something because the percentage on win rates is a lot lower than 86%. And so like beyond that, like you get this all bundled up into something called kayak fishing. I don't want people out there to just not do it because of some, you know, low level guy like Jacob Hausman going out there and cheating and giving us a black eye. We caught him. And guess what? Was his second year competing? We caught him within his second year. That just goes to show you that if you cheat, we're eventually going to find out. And so guess what? Just go out there, fish, regardless of whether or not you go out there and win or take last place. You know, just understand the other positives that come from kayak fishing, especially with the KA stuff. You know, KA stuff is a charity event. You are literally going to help a charity event within that local organization. So yeah, go out there, fish, have a good time, build some relationships, figure out the fish in March, you know. Yeah.
Nice. T-Man, what do you got for closing?
I guess my best advice to everybody at this point is don't let one person dictate how this industry rolls. You see me at the boat launch on a good morning, I'm pretty happy-go-lucky. Some mornings I'm too many teas and I don't want to be there, but I'm going to be there. But besides all that, you need to have a positive mindset when you go into this. Don't let a couple of bad apples come in and go, oh, well, this is a money grab. Oh, this, that, and the other. Guess what? I seen a couple of guys that progressed over, I don't know, Carlo, what, 2 years?
Yeah.
Roughly?
Yeah.
Dex and Drew Lamparter.
Yeah.
That started out with getting fish DQ'd, deductions, and everything else. And it came down to the tiebreaker at the last event between me and him.
Yep.
And that guy goes out there with 3 rods, a couple bags of soft plastics, and he looked at me that event and said, if I wasn't fishing against you, I'd ask you for a chatterbait. And I wanted to give him one. I said, well, I'll give you a chatterbait. It's brand new. Oh, no, we're fishing against each other. This is something that's important.
Yeah, Dave Gallagher. You're absolutely correct, man. Like, I've met some of the greatest people through kayak fishing. And 99% of the people, 99.9% of the people you're going to meet kayak fishing are going to help you. They're going to be your best friend. This podcast has, like, what we were talking about earlier. It's like not even 1% of the people that kayak fish. You know, I want to say it's 0.02% maybe. All the kayak fishermen I ever met in my life, in my history of kayak fishing, which is about 5 years, competitively 2 years, awesome people. I just met Adam this year, awesome person. I've just met Brandon here just recently. I'm looking forward to going fishing with him sometime.
Doesn't ask me to go fishing though.
Ryan's always hungover, but you guys know what I'm saying. It shows when you go to a tournament, everybody's happy. Everybody's willing to do anything for anybody. So yeah, Dave Gallagher, you hit the nail on the head there. I just want to say, Sean Lavery, I hope you get through your back surgery real quick. I hope everything goes well. Get back out on the water. I look forward to winter fishing with you. We do a lot of winter fishing down in the lower part of the Susquehanna in the wintertime. Also check out Paddle and Fin. Adam Fraser Pross just came out with a new series called Calm Water. That's something that if you have issues in your life, you might want to check out his podcast. It'll help you through. It's called The River Run with Adam Fraser Pross, and check out the Rusty Hook with John Rapp. Those are our guys that we partner with Paddle and Fin. I want to thank you guys for coming on.
Real quick before you cut this off,
Matthew,
I'm a bit salty. The SFT tournament was my first and only mixed emotions.
Yeah, that's a shame, Matthew.
Look up Kayak Anglers of Central PA.
Yes.
I don't know what part of PA you're in, but there's Eastern, Western, Laurel Highlands, Northeast Ohio. Don't let that one event get to you. There was mistakes that were made, and trust me, they are going to learn from it if they decide to come back out. Feel free to message any of us. You guys not opposed to that? Questions, comments, concerns. Kayak fishing is my passion. It's everybody else's here. Do not let this one event that you were in give you a very bad salty taste, because I can promise you, kayak anglers, we're all out there for each other. Yeah, we want to win an event, whatever. But at the end of the day, I would give the shirt off my back, and the rest of these guys here would too. And that's how everybody is in these groups. So don't let this one event bring you down to where you go, I don't want to do this. No. Fish kayak anglers, fish PA bass, MAKBF. I don't know where you're at, but don't let this one event get to you. I promise you. A lot of people have learned from this event. Things are going to change for the better of this community. We all have each other's backs. Come out and fish. Have fun.
Yeah. And this year, Ryan, we are going to have big checks for the top 3 anglers for every event.
I'm not going to get a top 3 this year. You're nuts.
I'm just saying, we have something to actually give away besides just money for the top 3.
I want Matthew to come out and get a top 3 and get a big check, because this guy's hesitant and 50-50 on events. So he needs to come out and fish with us all.
Yeah, Matthew Weimer.
Float with me. It's fun. It's great. I'll be sober that morning, I promise.
You'll be throwing fish at him. All right, guys. I appreciate everyone. Adam, thanks for coming on. Brandon, Snitch, thanks for coming on. We appreciate you guys. We'll see you on the next one, man. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network. We hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget for future shows, like, follow, share, and hit that subscribe button. Make sure you check out our individual channels and accounts too. Want to be a guest on one of our shows and talk of adventures, gear, or products? Contact us. Thank you for watching The Noob Show with Matt Gibson, Chasing the Tide with Dustin Nichols, The Rusty Hook with John Rapp, The River Run with Adam Fraser Pross, May Contain Fishing with Daniel Woodcock, Chasing the 20s with Carlisle Esterly and Sean Lavery, Friday Night Bites with Brian Schiller. Thanks for tuning into the Paddle and Fin Network. Subscribe and always wear your PFD.